zero waste.
Hello, I'm going to be talking to you about a topic of sustainability. This topic is pretty important, I feel, so let's begin. America is a country of consumerism. It's always the next best thing or instant gratification. The packaging, or even the item ends up in a landfill though. Or worse, the ocean. Slow down and look at the world around you. Plastic bags flowing in the wind. Trash littering the backdrops of beautiful scenery. It's time to make a change. There has been an ongoing global environmental crisis occurring. What can one person do to help combat the vicious cycle of buy, consume, and dispose? Well, it's simple. Just break the cycle. By living a life where you limit the amount of waste that gets contributed to landfills, it also combats many other crises as well, such as the need to recycle, using up Earth's precious resources, and helping to reduce climate change. The list goes on and on. However, without getting too out of topic, let me zoom in and focus on the zero waste lifestyle and exactly what it means. More importantly, how it can affect you as an individual and the world around you. So let me take a poll. Who's all eating today? I would imagine everyone that's listening to me talk right now. Unless, of course, you're fasting for whatever reason. And if that's the case, more power to you. Back to the question, what you ate today, was there anything left over? Maybe a snack for later, like because you couldn't finish it all, or perhaps some plastic that you had to throw away. Have you ever wondered what exactly happens to the plastic once you toss it into the trash? The thing about traditions is, once they get laid down, they're pretty hard to break or change. What happens though, when you're presented with pretty evident facts that say, hey, your old ways of doing things aren't so great. Maybe, just maybe, you should start thinking of some better ways to do things. Surprisingly, each individual produces 4.5 pounds of trash per day. Now I know what you're thinking, 4.5 pounds of trash, that's not that bad. But when you multiply that by how many people are in your community, in your city, in your country, that number grows pretty large, pretty rapidly. Now let's talk about what happens to your trash. Typically you put it in a bag, you put that bag in a container, put it on the side of the road. Okay, no big deal, it's someone else's problem now. The garbage truck then comes to pick up that trash, takes it to a field where it either gets thrown into an incinerator that produces toxic chemicals and throws them back into the air. The ashes from that incinerator then gets buried in the ground, leaving the resources used to create the item virtually useless. The other option is just to pile it into a big mountain of garbage. Let's be honest, neither of those options sound appealing in the slightest. The best way to avoid this altogether is just to eliminate the plastic from your purchases. If you're not able to do that, the next best thing would be to recycle it. It's said that almost half, 42% of the United States greenhouse gas emissions come from the way we produce, transport, consume, and dispose of all our stuff and food. When food ends up in the landfills, it produces a chemical called methane. However, if we were to completely eliminate throwing food into our bins and compost it instead, the food can be broken down into nutrients for soil instead of producing this toxic gas that pollutes the air we breathe. To further build on how we produce the items that we consume, we do it in a way that is not sustainable. We get metals from a country over there, we get plastics from a country thousands of miles north of that country. then it gets shipped overseas to where it gets assembled. Not only do you need to take into account digging up the Earth's resources needed to make the materials, you need to recognize all the transportation happening just for that item to be produced. By then going out and purchasing that item, you invite the whole cycle to happen again, just so the item can get replaced. Our Earth is only made up of finite materials. If the whole world consumed like America did, we would need 5 total planets just to provide for it. By living a zero waste lifestyle, you consume less, which then lessens the demand on product replenishment, which then lowers the level of landfills and the destruction of our Earth's resources, which then helps reduce the impact on climate change. It's pretty much like a butterfly effect. When you become conscious of just how what you buy is interconnected with the impact on the environment, this lifestyle starts to look more and more promising. The best way to lead will always be by example. Choosing items for your everyday life then becomes a lot easier. Instead of using single-use items such as paper plates, plastic cups, replace them with glass plates and glass cups, and reuse them. Instead of buying packaged foods, buy whole foods from a place where you're able to bring in your own cloth bags. Instead of just throwing away your old clothes, your old shoes, your old electronics, take them to a place that can recycle them and turn them into sources for new products instead of just sending them to sit in the field where they go unused. This can also be turned around and you can thrift instead of buying new items. By doing this, you only use the resources that have already been pulled from the earth instead of demanding the cycle to continue. Some may say that this just takes too much time, too much effort, or just simply costs too much. In the long run though, it gives you more time on the planet and can be cheaper. It can be cheaper due to thrifting, like I said. And did you know that when you buy a product, you pay mostly for the things that it was packaged in? When buying bulk food items, you avoid the cost of packaging by bringing your own reusable equipment. Let's face it, the earth does not need us to survive, but we do need the earth. We cannot keep going at the rate we are. With our conscious efforts in how we choose to live our daily lives, we can make a huge difference. We can have a significant impact on our environment by reducing our waste, by recycling, and by making small changes in how we shop and live. The best thing about this course of action is that you can start today. You can make the choice to start right now if you so choose. You don't have to change anything too drastically, but one thing you could do is replace your plastic toothbrush with a bamboo toothbrush. You could also start using a metal or a reusable straw instead of continuing to dispose. My hopes is that the next time you find yourself with a piece of plastic in your hand, you stop yourself before throwing it away and hold on to it until you find a recycle bin to throw it in. Choosing this sort of lifestyle is a process. It takes time to break yourself of old habits, but the earth will be thanking you for making these seemingly small choices to make a change. Let's make a difference, not only in our own lives, but let's have a more positive impact on the world around us too. Thank you.